time for the Success in Real Estate Show with Frankie Griffin, owner and instructor of Real Estate School for Success, broker in charge of the Palmetto Success Team, and author of Success in Real Estate. If you're interested in buying or selling a home, investing in real estate, or becoming a real estate agent, you'll enjoy the Success in Real Estate Show on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. Now, here's Frankie Griffin.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator in South Carolina. Thank you for joining us this morning. Got several things we want to talk about today, but primarily we're going to be dealing with home values and appraisal. Got my good friend Todd Feaster, real estate appraiser, is in the studio with me this morning. How are we doing, Todd?
Doing fine. Fine.
And you're looking pretty good today.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being here.
I don't look like I'm drowned from all the rain.
Good grief. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. Todd told me rain adds significant value to homes. So we should all be doing very well right now.
The tax assessor is out appraising your property as lakefront as we speak.
Well, we got a lot of things we want to talk about, obviously dealing with appraisal. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything about the value of your home, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about it. The number here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862 if you have any questions. But, Todd, before we get started, I just wanted to mention we've got a few classes that's going to be starting up here very soon.
Right.
And one of those, if you're thinking about getting your real estate license, we've got we got two classes that's going to be starting on Monday. And one's the day class that meets Monday through Thursday, and that's a 2-week class. And then we've also got a night class that meets on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights, both of which are going to be starting on Monday. So if you would like to get your real estate license, we would certainly love to help you at the Real Estate School for Success. You can certainly go onto our website, which is www.realestateschoolforsuccess.com. And there you'll find those classes that are listed there. And again, both of them start on Monday. Got a day class and a night class. Also starting on Monday, we've got a broker course that's going to be starting up. So for those of you that are already licensed and would like to get your broker license, then this would be the class you need. And we got it starting on Monday. And then 1 week from today, which is going to be a weekend class, we've actually got two classes that's going to be starting up. One's going to be the property management course, which has been very, very popular this year so far, and for good reason. A lot of property management out there. But then the other course that I really wanted to talk to Todd about a little bit, we've got the appraisal courses that's going to be starting up this weekend. 1 week from today, which is July 13th. And Todd, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Todd is also my appraisal instructor at the Real Estate School for Success.
Right.
So he's an expert at teaching and he's an expert at appraising, among other things, and I don't have time to list them all.
Yeah. Right.
But Todd,
my wife just ran off the road listening to that, I'm sure.
Probably. But, Todd, the real estate industry as a whole has really taken off.
It has.
This year, I can't remember the last time I've been this busy.
Well, I think everybody's ready to come out of the Great Recession. Rates are still ridiculously low. They have increased a little bit in the last week, but still, if anybody out there can remember the late 80s, early 90s, it's ridiculously low now compared to what it was. So everything seems to be fairly active. There's a lot of competition. There's big inventory. There's a lot of properties on the market, but
and going to be. But what I don't know, and maybe you know, but what about appraising? I know when houses are selling as much as they've been this year, a lot of buying and selling going on. Not to mention all the foreclosures and other things or reasons you would need an appraisal.
Right.
A lot of refinancing going on.
Right.
I know a lot of appraisers kind of bailed out of the business and went and got a job.
They did. A lot of guys did. But appraisal is going to be steady. It's just you have to see the change coming and stay on the right side of the coin. Yes, we had a lot of foreclosures. Yes, there was a lot of work involved in that. Now you're starting to see a lot more purchase work come in. As the purchases build the value back to the pre-crisis highs, then people that rode through the crisis are going to have some equity there that they want to refinance. So you're going to start seeing lenders get a lot more aggressive, trying to get their money out on the street as rates go up. So when lenders start making people a good deal for refinance, whatever it is, home equity, whatever the reason, there's going to be an appraisal involved in that.
Well, and obviously when there's an appraisal, usually there's going to be a closing. And when there's going to be a closing, we're usually dealing with somebody by the name of Andy On.
Oh, boy.
Which is probably on the phone with us right now. How we doing, Brother Andy?
Hey, Bubba, how you doing?
Oh, this is such a fine day today.
Good. You getting along okay?
Oh, yes. I dried out earlier this morning, and things are good.
I'm telling you, I've already lived a full day today. My wife and my son went on their first mission trip.
Wow.
To Costa Rica. They, along with some others from Chapin United Methodist, we got them on the flight today at about 6:50. So I've been going strong since about 3 a.m. So I think I might be after I make this phone call. I might be hitting the sack for the evening. So,
oh, you'll be okay. You're still young for that.
I hear you. Well, I appreciate you taking my call. I wanted to touch base and let you know that. We've got a great lunch and learn opportunity from any real estate professionals or investors in our listening audience today. We're having a seminar this coming Thursday. It's going to start up around 11:30, and it will be a lunch and learn that I'm doing with Lynette Cawley with ERA Wilder Real Estate, who is just an outstanding agent. She and I do an awful lot of business together. She's just one of the best. I mean, she just does it the right way every day. And we've got a great subject, Frankie, that we're going to be discussing. It's called the investment alternative. And we're going to be talking about various vehicles that are being used by sellers and folks that are trying to either rent or sell property in order to be able to get folks in property or get the property sold. That might have credit issues, things like this. We're going to be talking about, lease option agreements. We're going to be talking about owner financing, seller-held notes and mortgages, and real estate installment agreements. So we're going to be talking about a whole host of options and alternatives for folks that, that might be trying to sell property or might be interested in buying property. That may have credit issues, or that may be unable to purchase it, through a bank, through conventional lending. And we're going to talk about some of the restrictions that that recently have kind of come up with reference to some of these types of agreements. The Dodd-Frank bill seemed to put some additional restrictions on folks that are doing multiple numbers of these types of arrangements. And so we're going to talk about some of those issues that we're facing. We're also going to have Ned Hill with Movement Mortgage, who is actually Erica's dad, who's going to be talking about some reverse mortgage options in these situations as well. So we're really looking forward to it. I think Lynette was going to call in today.
She is
to give some details on where it's going to be. It's one of her listings, and she wanted to talk about where it was going to be and a little bit about that particular listing. But we're excited about it. We've had this seminar one time before, and had a great turnout, particularly from investors and real estate professionals. But it is open to the public, and we look forward to having any and everybody that'd like to attend.
Okay, and I think Lynette is on the other line as we speak.
Okay.
And we'll get where this seminar will be held. Now, does there need to be? Do we need to call in, register? Or?
Yeah. If you would, because obviously, anytime we're doing this at someone's home, like we're doing on this, on this occasion, I mean, space is limited, and we've already had several RSVPs for this lunch and learn. So please call us and speak with Leanne at 744-0824. She's my marketing assistant, as you know, Frankie, and she'll get your name down and bring your guests. We'd love to have you.
Well, that's awesome, and I hope you have a great day and go get you a nap.
Thank you, Bubba. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care. All right, we need to go ahead and get our first break out of the way. But on the other side, we've got Lynette, I think, is still holding. And I hope you'll hold on until we get back from the other side of this break. And we'll talk about where this seminar will be held. And then we're also going to be talking more about the appraisal business and maybe get into some how values are doing right now around town. If you have any questions, certainly give us a call. The number is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator in South Carolina. Thank you for joining me this morning. Let me go straight back to the phone lines where we've got Miss Lynette Cawley. How you doing, Lynette?
I'm good. How are you, Frankie?
Oh, this is such a fine day today.
At least it's not raining.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Hey, Andy was on just before the break, and sounds like we're going to be doing a seminar at one of your listings coming up Thursday.
We are. The seminar will be held at 1415 Butler Street. It is a beautiful two-story all-brick home in Melrose Heights.
Wow. And what kind of price range are we looking at there?
It is on the market currently at $265,000. This house has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. The downstairs part of the house could be an in-law suite. It could be a teen suite, or it could be a guest suite. It has a full bedroom, full bath, and a huge sitting area with a fireplace. And it has separate entrance if someone wanted to use it like a mother-in-law suite or a teen suite. We have 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 full baths. We have a totally renovated kitchen. We have a large fenced-in backyard with a full privacy fence. Great location, close to everything, and priced to sell.
Well, that is awesome. And you said the address is 1415 Butler Street.
Yes, sir.
And this is going to be Thursday, and I didn't write it down. What time is that going to be?
Thursday, July the 11th, from 11:30 to 1:30. And it is open to all realtors as well as the public.
Awesome. Well, Annette, I hope you have a wonderful day, my dear.
Thank you. And we encourage everyone to come out and take advantage of this lunch and learn.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you then.
All right. Thanks. Have a good weekend.
All righty. You
Bye-bye.
too. All right. And that's the lunch and learn seminar that's going to be done by Andy on 1415 Butler Street. And he does ask you RSVP. Again, this is primarily just to know how much food to bring. But his number, Andy's number, that is 744-0824. 744-0824. And you can talk to his assistant, Leanne, and she will put you down for this seminar. All right, well, let's go back to our phone lines where we've got Christopher. How you doing, Christopher?
Well, hey, Frankie, can you hear me okay?
I can. Hope you're doing well.
Doing real well.
Well, what's going on?
Well, I had a question, and I was willing to give you a appraisal question if in return you were able to answer something else that I really wanted to ask. But let me just start off with what I really wanted to ask.
Okay.
Nothing to do with appraising, but I think it's important to know for general information. Do you have any guidance or what's your opinion on sometimes when you buy property or buy real estate from somebody that once owned a larger plat and they're selling a particular lot or a parcel of that larger plat off to somebody else, and the buyer, when he acquires that particular lot that has a house on it, the water line happens to run through the neighbor's property to the city main. If you don't have an easement recorded on the plat, is that something to be concerned about, or are you automatically granted certain riparian rights regardless?
Well, if I'm understanding you correctly, the service line to your property crosses someone else's property?
Correct.
Typically, there is an easement in a case like that. I'm assuming this is not a private utility provider. I'm assuming this is a public utility.
Correct. It's a city utility, but the city meter happens to be along the main highway,
right,
across the neighbor's property. So basically, it's the line from the meter through the neighbor's property to my property, I guess, would be considered a private water line. And so I guess it kind of opens up a couple questions. One, can that neighbor arbitrarily dig and cut into that water line between my property and the city meter? And then two, who actually owns the water line through the neighbor's property, and who's responsible for it?
Well, I believe that the answers that you're looking for you'll find on your neighbor's plat. Whomever the utility provider is should have acquired an easement across the neighbor's property where the main transmission water line runs, and then any distribution or tap points off of that main transmission line that may cross someone else's property to get to you. That's basically their responsibility. If I were you, I would do a little research and get my hands on my neighbor's plat to make sure that that's well documented. And if it's not, I would definitely get in touch with your local utility and make them aware of that situation and ask them, what remedy you have as a property owner to make sure that easement is secured across that adjoining property. And that's all public record. You're not asking for anything secret. They should be able to provide you with that.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Well,
thank you.
That was easy. Well, Chris, I hope you have a great day, buddy.
All right, you too.
All righty. Now, Todd, I wanted to ask you about in fact, prior to going to break, we were talking about there's an appraisal course that's going to be starting up. And it's going to be starting up 1 week from today, the 13th. And this it's a lot different than real estate because you got a number of classes to take, but there's only a few you have to take to actually start practicing appraisal.
True.
Is that how does this work? What's the process?
Well, the first three courses are what you have to get behind you in order to apply for an appraisal apprentice license. And you're going to have an appraiser sponsor you that you can go to work for. Once you get to, and the names of the courses are QE1, QE2, and QE3. And without getting into too much technicality, the first one is basically the foundations of value, not just applying to real estate, but value in general. A lot of good general information in that course for not just appraisal, but for valuation sake of anything. The second course gets more into the technical how-to. What do you consider? Things, the different forces of value and different ways that appraisers have to look at things in the appraisal process. And then the QE3 course that I talked about is Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice. It's been called ethics in the past, but it's basically the do's and do nots of the appraisal business. You cover the appraisal practice document in.
It just lays out the standard.
Deeply. Yes, those are the uniform standards as set forth by the Appraisal Foundation.
So once I complete the first three, then I could start appraising as an apprentice.
Yes.
Now now you mentioned that we would need an appraiser to sponsor you to be an apprentice.
Right.
But do I have to have that sponsorship before I take the classes?
No. And it would be best if it's something you're interested in to go ahead and just take the first course and see if you even like it.
Yeah.
And don't commit to all these hours and all this time. Come sit in the first course, see what you think. You can find someone to go to work with. Of course, if you've got the first three courses behind you, that's going to make you more attractive to anybody that may want to take somebody on.
And when we talk about these classes, for example, QE1, and these are weekend classes.
Yes,
by the way.
Yes. Everybody's got jobs and real lives. We have to do it on the weekend for everybody that's wanting to change careers and things like that.
Well, there's different amounts of time for each course, QE1, QE2, and then 3.
Yes. 1 and 2 are both 30-hour courses, which would be, 4 days, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next Saturday and Sunday. So that would be for the first 2 classes is 60 hours, and then QE3 is 15. So you got a total of 75 hours invested to the point that you can go out and try to find something to do.
And we have some time built in between the classes, so it's not every weekend.
Yes. We're not going to do it weekend back to back. We
do
usually build in
QE1
1 or 2 weekends between the classes.
So QE1 is 2 weekends.
Yes.
And then we'll take 2 or 3 weekends off.
I believe it's 2.
2.
I believe it's 2.
And then QE2, and then right on down the line. And anybody that's interested in getting into appraisal, is critical that you get in this class, QE1, because we go right through QE9, right?
Yes.
Before we actually come back to QE1 again.
Yes.
And you got to get 1, 2, and 3 before you can even start appraising.
That's correct.
And once I get the first 3, now obviously then I've got 4 through 9, but then I got, 2 years to complete?
You've got no less than 2 years.
Okay.
Is the way it reads. At that point, once you've completed the first 3 courses and gone to work for somebody, you are building experience points toward your eventual certification, and you cannot get those points in a time period less than 24 months. So you've got at least 2 years and up to 5 to get the rest of that education and your exam knocked out while you're working and building your points towards certification.
Okay. So the key is, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and get registered right now for the class starting up 1 week from today, because without that, you can't do anything.
Right. That's the starting block.
Okay. Well, I've got several other questions about appraising and value, and also want to talk to you about some issues real estate agents have with some appraisals. So we'll get into some of that. But if you have any questions for Todd, give us a call. The number in studio is 978-9862, 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin. Thank you for joining me this morning. I've got in studio with me Todd Feaster. He's a real estate appraiser, and he's also an appraisal instructor at the Real Estate School for Success. And we're talking about the process for those that might be interested in getting their appraisal license. Right. But we're also interested in answering any questions you have. If you have a concern or question about value of your property or something similar to that, just give us a call. The number here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. Love to answer your questions. But Todd, I hear all the time real estate agents get a little bit upset from time to time with how the appraisal process goes. And
right.
I'm trying to keep this nice. And but one of the big questions you always get from real estate agents is, why in the world, if you know how to determine the value of a home,
right,
why do you need a copy of the contract between the buyer and the seller? Because you know as well as I do, it's going to always come back at almost the exact same price the buyer and the seller agreed to.
Right. Well, that's why. So we know what number to put on the form.
There you go.
The purpose in the sales contract is for the appraiser to review it, make sure there's no personal property involved. There are a lot of things in appraisers, especially appraising a property that's under contract. A lot of research an appraiser has to do about that specific transaction to determine if it does reflect a typical transaction.
You're talking about like an arm's length?
Yes, that's the big word in the arm's length transaction definition. Is what the most probable price the property would bring that a typical buyer would pay. If this specific buyer is overpaying or possibly underpaying, we've got to see the terms of that sales contract, make sure the down payment's typical, make sure the earnest, everything is typical instead of specific. And
there's some terms in there that may have to be adjusted. For example, maybe closing costs.
Absolutely. Closing cost, personal property involved with the sale, anything like that, those sort of things. If the seller makes credit for a new carpet, things like that, all that is information that the appraiser needs to know.
So the terms in the contract can affect the value.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Or they may not affect it, but that's a case by case, and an appraisal is just an opinion. It's opinion based on fact, but it's still just an opinion.
Well, if I've got somebody willing to pay me, or not say pay me, but maybe a seller's willing to give 5, 6, 7% of the purchase price towards the buyer, towards closing cost.
Right.
Well, that would affect how much I could or might be willing to pay for the property.
Absolutely. It could change. It could change. The people buy houses now more concerned with how much is my payment going to be.
Yeah.
So every $1,000 that they're not financing makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And once that information gets out in the market through MLS, the next buyer is going to want the same deal. So that kind of information has to be analyzed and put into its proper context for that transaction.
Well, the other issue you get, and this I don't think it's just for real estate agents. I think this is in general, the public anyway.
Right.
Has a problem understanding why there's so many different types of value. I mean, how can you appraise it one day and come up with one price, and then you might appraise it again a couple of weeks later and have a whole different appraisal?
Right. Well, and all that's given as part of the appraisal assignment. Or are we appraising for what's referred to as fair market value? What is the most probable price that property would bring if offered on the open market, all terms commensurate with a fair arm's length transaction? Are we looking for a liquidation value? Is this a foreclosure and adverse possession deal where we're going to try to get rid of the property as soon as we can? Is this insurable value? Is this cost to replace? Is this, there are a lot of different types of value that can be sought, and they can be done by the same guy on the same day, just depending on how many requests you got.
So you need to know the purpose of the appraisal.
Absolutely.
Or
the engagement letter or the assignment must say that's something that must be given to the appraiser from the client. What value are you looking for? Are you going to hold, do you want fair market value, or do you want to sell this house in 60 days regardless, which would be more like a liquidation value? Are you buying this as an investment property? Then you want an investment value. You want to know what's the income stream attributable to it, and all those sort of things. So there's quite a few different types of value.
Well, and I got to tell you, I plan on attending and being in this class starting Saturday, and just because, and I feel like I hopefully understand a little bit more than maybe some, just because I beat you up all the time,
right?
And
right.
have you teach the class to me one-on-one.
Right.
But it does seem to me that there would be significant value for a real estate agent to understand and have the same knowledge that appraisers have.
Absolutely. And just as there's significant value in an appraiser taking the sales courses to learn, what agents can and can't do, can and can't say. I had no idea. When I took it, I was amazed. The same thing holds true in the reverse. Agents need to come in. They need to learn the language. They need to be able to speak more intelligently, learn the lingo, understand for yourself why didn't the appraisal come back? Well, let me look at it and know what I'm looking at. Let me be able to speak with some authority on this. Mm-hmm. And the first class, if that's all you take, you're going to know 30 hours more than what you did when you came in, I assure you.
Yeah. And Todd, and it just seems to me, and I've been wanting to ask you this, just for my peace of mind, but it just seems to me that because of the market that we've been dealing with,
right.
So many foreclosures, tons of short sales, there's just all kind of issues that in my mind kind of cloud the market value.
There are.
It makes it very difficult for a real estate agent, especially one that really doesn't understand market value.
Right.
And I got to tell you, in real estate agents, I'm not trying to beat you up, but I hear it all the time where agents tell me, well, it's very easy to determine the value. You find 3 houses that have recently sold in the same location, and there you go.
And there you go.
So
yep, that's it. Pretty much. We're done.
So why do I need 180 hours to learn that in the appraisal course?
Well, as you say, the market is there are a lot of non-arm's length transactions that are going on. Anytime you're coming off of a bunch of foreclosures, sometimes cash sales, and a lot of times for sale by owner deals. aren't necessarily arm's length transactions because they weren't offered to the open market. The days of getting the Sunday paper and marking a couple of addresses and riding by and looking at houses, those days are gone.
Yeah.
You can't put a house in the paper and sell it anymore. Don't tell the state paper I said that, but that's just not the way it's done.
No,
you've got to have professional marketing nowadays.
Everybody's online.
You've got to have photography. You've got to have a website. You've got to have the total package now to adequately expose your property to the market. And from the appraisal standpoint, that's what it's about.
Well, one of the things I have been teaching probably for the last year anyway, at least in my classes when we're teaching real estate,
right,
when we go over how to do market valuations and things like that, I try to be very clear to make sure real estate agents understand we're not appraisers.
Right.
And we don't have the knowledge or the know-how to try to determine the value with a lot of properties today, because when you look out there, there may be, in fact, I say all the time, there are really no good comps when you look at what has sold, either because it was a foreclosure or a short sale or something that kind of clouds the issue that may not make this a very good comp.
Right.
And instead of guessing on what you think the value might be, it's well worth spending $300, $400, whatever an appraisal might cost to make sure we know the value.
Right.
Because if I'm listing a house and I'm having problems finding good comps, I know the buyer's agent's going to have the same problem.
And so is their appraiser. It's best that you know what to expect going in.
Yes.
And go ahead and find those properties that are determined to be a competitive supply for your subject, that's sold in terms similar to what you want to sell your property for. If you want to short sell your property, those are the comparables you ought to be using. If you want to sell your property for fair market value, then those are the comparables you should be using. You can't mix or hybridize. You can't put together a hybrid of the two.
Awesome. Well, again, in studio, we've got Todd Feaster. He's an appraiser, real estate appraiser, and appraisal instructor at the Real Estate School for Success. Need to go ahead and take our final break of the day, but if you have any questions about appraisal or value or any issues with your property, give us a call. The number is 978-9862. 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm talking with Todd Feaster, real estate appraiser and an instructor of appraisal. And we're actually talking about I guess not so much the appraisal process, but why it's important to understand how appraisals work, because there's so many misconceptions, I think, and I guess it all goes back to that old saying, you never know what it is you don't know.
That's right.
And I try very hard now not to criticize appraisers too much, just trying to save face, because invariably I find out that I come across as the one looking like the moron after it's explained to me. And and I think that's what a problem a lot of real estate agents have. And it is easy to cast stones. It is easy to, because we just see what we're dealing with, and we don't get into all the things that appraisers have to do, because you have a standard that you must apply to determine this value.
Yes.
And even though an appraisal is an opinion of value, sometimes I think real estate agents kind of stretch that opinion into maybe some other term.
Well, yes, and it's tough to do. There are a lot of variables that have to be considered, and there's an appraisal process, and there are standards that have to be followed. An appraisal is just an opinion of value in the future, based on information and fact that has happened in the past. That's kind of like saying all things, if everything stays the same, this is what it'll be. There are appraisers that are, I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. That's the way it is, but in most cases, I think people that are looking at the same set of data should come to about the same result as far as their opinions of what the property would be worth.
You know, Todd, I hear when I ask agents how they go about determining value,
Right.
doing their market analysis, going back to what I repeated earlier, or stated earlier, it's finding similar or comparable properties that have recently sold. And then I like to ask this question, well, what is recent? And then invariably 6 months is the answer I get.
Usually.
And I understand that. But then I ask this question, all right, is July the 6th today? So if I back up 6 months, that's what, January, February, first part? Mm-hmm. Are you telling me that what a house sold for back in January, February time frame is reflective of what it may sell for today?
In some cases, yes, and in some cases, no. We have seasonal markets.
Absolutely.
The beach is a seasonal market. I've been told a lot of stuff at Lake Murray is a seasonal market. I have, I don't know if that's true or not, but you've got to, whether you're listing the property or you're appraising the property or you're somebody thinking about buying that property, you need to look far enough back in time and have enough information and verified sales data to make your own determination. But regardless as to who you are or what your interest in the property is.
Well, I tell you, here's what I'd like to do, Todd, and I haven't even talked to you about it because I just thought of it. But
this should be good.
But I want to offer this to real estate agents right now. Now, agents, listen to me. I'm assuming you're happy being a real estate agent and you're not interested in getting into or actually getting your appraisal license. But if you would like to sit through the appraisal course, at least the first 3 classes, QE 1, 2, and 3, to get an idea of what appraisers are dealing with or doing,
right?
Give me a call, and we will cut you a deal in terms of what it costs to take the class.
Right.
Now, if you're wanting to get your certificate and you want to apply towards appraisal, then you're going to have to pay full price for that.
There's cost associated with that, yes.
But what we want to try to do is, at the Real Estate School for Success, we want our students or those that come through our school to always be practicing with knowledge and understanding.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's important. So if you would just like to, we'll just call it Audit the Class.
Sure.
Give me a call. Obviously, we'll be back in class starting on Monday, but you can give me a call or just shoot me an email. My email address is frankie@frankiegriffin.com. That's frankie@frankiegriffin.com, and we will certainly help you out.
Right. The big thing that everybody needs to walk away from this, whether you're coming at this from an appraiser or an agent or just somebody interested in buying a piece of property, the market determines the value. It's not appraisers. It's not an agent. It's not a broker. It's not a broker in charge. It's not an MAI. The market, the activity of people like you interested in properties, like what they paid for it, the deal that they made, all the way down to the sales contract. That's what determines the value. I don't decide what a piece of property is worth no more than you do or Jerry does or anybody else. It's just, that's not the case. What everybody's got to remember, that abiding truth is always that the market makes that determination.
Well, we're about out of time, Todd, so let me go ahead and thank you right now for coming in.
Thank you.
I appreciate
My pleasure.
that. And again, anybody interested in getting their appraisal license, don't miss this opportunity because it's going to be several months, more than likely, before we come back to QE1 because we go start with 1 and go through 9.
Very well could be. Very well could be. We got a lot of people that are waiting on the later classes whose time's running out, and I'm getting emails. When are you having 6? When are you having 7? So.
Yep. So you don't want to miss the first 3. So hurry up, get online, go to www.realestateschoolforsuccess.com. Just click on appraisal, and then you'll see all the classes there. And you just do them one at a time. But thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you have a great weekend. You've been listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC.